John Jeffire was born in Detroit. In 2005, his novel, Motown Burning, was named Grand Prize winner in the Mount Arrowsmith Novel Competition. And in 2007, it won a gold medal for regional fiction in the Independent Publishing Awards. Speaking of Motown Burning, former chair of the Pulitzer jury, Philip F. O'Connor, said, "It works. I don't often say that, but it has a drive and integrity that gives it credible life. I find a novel with a heart." In 2009, Andra Malaka included Motown Burning in her list of six savory novels set in Detroit, along with works like Elmore Leonard, Joyce Carol Oates, and Jeffrey Eugenides. His first book of poetry, Stone plus Fist plus Brick plus Bone, which I read, by the way, was nominated for a Michigan Notable Book Award in 2009. Former U.S. Poet Laureate Philip Levine called the book a terrific one for our city. His book, Shoveling Snow in a Snowstorm, a poetry chapbook, was published by the Finishing Line Press in 2016. For more on the author, and then there are other books of poetry, which I think we'll probably hear something about. Uh, there was an interview by Spank the Carp, a kind of critical website, and it had some interesting things to say about, or some interesting questions, which John answered in a very frank way and in an informative way. Who was your favorite author and why? Philip Levine. He saved me from a life of poetry, crime, and stupidity. I was a sophomore in college when I first read and got it. A blue-collar guy writing about Detroit, the factories, the breweries, the will to fight uh, to fight on in the face of everyday pointlessness. He resonated. Others, Alice Munro, Philip Carver, and the list goes on. And my mother's friends in Detroit who got nowhere near the praise, pardon me, and my writer friends in Detroit who get nowhere near the praise and attention they deserve. Love and respect them. Tell me about the mechanics of how you write. To quote the Joker, do I really look like a guy with a plan? I have to be struck by something, a line, a combination of words, an image or moment of reflection, and then I'm off. I have no idea where I'm headed. I follow until I follow until something happens, a draft, usually horrible. Then I go back and see if I've got something worth keeping and uh, uh, and shaping. Tools, initially pens and lots of bar napkins, newspaper margins, the backs of Home Depot receipts. Then the interviewer asks, finally, what do you think about carp? The fish, not the website, not our website. Man, could be my spirit animal. Bottom feeder, none too pretty or glamorous, still serving a damn useful purpose in a great chain of being. Think I've got an idea for my next tattoo. Let's welcome John Jeffire.
Oh, thank you so much, Ed. Yeah. And thank you to everybody here. And we've got Georgia, we've got Indiana, I think, Ohio, Michigan. So it really is quite a quite an impressive group that has arrived here today. As far as format goes, David and I were talking earlier, and to me, the evening is about everybody here, and if there's something that strikes you and you want to ask a question, I don't have any problems with being interrupted. Or, I mean, it's not an interruption. I think I should say it that way. So if there's something that intrigues you or you'd like clarified, please, by all means, ask away, and I'll do my best. Um, I've seen Ed over the years and have appreciated his work and appreciate him putting this together and appreciate the invitation. Um, I'm going to read from two books, and um, I think maybe if we can have a conversation afterwards, if anybody's got questions, can tell me if the Tigers are going to end the slump here that they're in right now. We can go in that direction. The first book that I wrote was this one, Stone plus Fist plus Brick plus Bone. And a lot of these poems dealt with growing up in Detroit. And this poem, the first one here, is called Those Days. And some of you older folks, you might catch some of the references in this one. The chemical orange River Rouge sun was an overgrown uncle slipping me a sip of Stroh's, and it took weeks to journey the stone's throw home from school. Ripping fistfuls of flowers through chain link for my mother from anybody's garden. The East End alleys were jeweled highways lined with garbage can guards where I once entombed a baseball bat, a handgun, and a stack of hustlers. I sang songs in German and Japanese, Sukiyaki and the girl from Ipanema, kicked jams with the devil in a blue dress, outdrew Boyd and Brown and gunned them down, entertained Captain Bobolo and Tricky Dick, hat-tricked Gordie Howe, KO'd Cassius Clay and Blue Lewis, was crowned King of Dearborn by Orville Hubbard. When the rain machine gunned our aluminum awning and left me penned on the porch, I took being wet, nameless, and small because the factory haze sun always returned with no hard feelings, lighting me to the treasure of my world. And my brother, he's out there, and I think he can attest that we did find that gun. We used to go home from school through the alleys, and we would go what we called treasure hunting. And uh, neither one of us shot our eyes out or lost a finger or anything like that. So we're good. This next one is called Closing Time. Our parents owned a bar, and we worked in that, and it was a family bar, like a corner bar, neighborhood bar. And of all the schooling that I've done in my life, I would say that that's where I got my greatest education. Um, most of it in abnormal psychology when we were dealing with the customers. This one's called Closing Time. Last call, a half hour gone, my father ordering me to lean on the mop handle, and my wanting to lean until I felt it snap, easy as a cap twisted from another customer's beer. I labored in the family bar beneath the autographed Gordie Howe, 68 Tigers, Muhammad Ali, and 3 foot high Elvis, listening to change skip from my mother's counting hand, and the bar floor came clean like it did the night before. But somewhere beyond the last stone stragglers and tomorrow's deposit, the world rolled slowly about the sun without us. I remember trying to sleep in our apartment above the bar with mice and roaches seeping through the walls from the tenement next door. Columbus and wheeling bound semis quaking the walls of my room above the sleeping kegs and ashtrays, laying on a sheetless mattress with no bedstand, wishing I had someone to hate for too many nights the register rang out light. The same bowl of cereal each morning, and the cigarette soot and bar floor stink I took to bed no matter how many times I washed. Drowning to sleep as the sun broke the blinds, the morning's last semis mumbling in the bare brick walls, I dreamed I would one day hold enough money to buy my freedom, find a woman to lay with me in a clean, soundless room, look out a smudgeless window at a road of my own leading to a place I knew I should be. And that 3 foot high Elvis, I should mention, My father was quite the character, but he was a building superintendent at the old Olympia Stadium in Detroit. And I don't know if anybody's familiar with the old Olympia. And he was in charge of the setup for concerts and Red Wing games and the Harlem Globetrotters and boxing and all that. And he did help set up for an Elvis concert there in the Olympia. And my brother does have that 3 foot high poster signed by both Elvis and Colonel Tom Parker. Um, I like to write about family. I like to write about um, the dilemmas that we confront, uh, the unexpected challenges that we never anticipated that we would be facing one day. And my daughter, um, unfortunately, had a just a near death heroin habit, and she's doing okay now. And I just saw her today. I'm watching her little dog for. Uh, but I think that any parent, how do you anticipate that, or how do you think that you're going to be dealing with that? I never conceived of that. So this poem is called Shooting Pool with My Daughter the Day After Her Release from Rehab. We take our rack and find a table near the back of the place, just far enough away from the others. Four Albanians smoking, laughing, enjoying their game. A white guy and a black guy, both about 50, their own custom cues. Old school buddies out on the night. A young woman and two men, which one her boyfriend? It's not clear. You want a break? I ask. No, go ahead. My daughter is 18, but looks, what, 25? Her face hidden beneath a layer of shame, thick eyeshadow, and her own cigarette smoke. I chalk the stick I have pulled from the customer rack. I want a clean break. Addressing the cue ball, I ramrod a 10-day stay of continuous guilt into the rack diamond, a sharp clack sending solids and stripes spinning in all directions. Good job, Dad, she says. My mind leaves the green field and Stevie Ray Vaughan wailing through Jimmy's Voodoo Child on the jukebox. Where did it go wrong? Down what pocket? Off what padded rail? When exactly, child, did we scratch on the 8? Here in this pool hall beneath dim lights reflecting off perfect opposing balls and a cloud of cigarette smoke, we break into the diamond of ourselves, spin out of control, and find no bottom, no pocket to hold us, only each other, each peering back, sizing up our next shot. I taught 4 years at a medium security prison in Ohio, the Allen Correctional Institute, and was probably one of the most important jobs I ever had. And what I realized and what I saw very clearly was the humanity in these men that I was teaching. And what I realized as well is that there was a fine line between being at the front of the classroom as a student and being on the other side as a prisoner. And the experience made me think about the many dumb things I did as a young man. And I could have been one of those guys sitting there trying to wonder what was going to happen next, if they were going to get a chance to rejoin society. And it was a very humbling experience. And I also realized a lot of those guys had terrible lives, terrible childhoods, just how they didn't come out screwed up. I mean, that would have been a miracle. And the one thing that they had was they were trying to better themselves by being in class. And I always respected that about them. This one's called The Composition Teacher Ponders Questions Posed by His Students at the Allen Correctional Institute. Most are routine. Hey, a period go here demands Lamar, a fax man wanting rules, the straight line distance through my class, through me, this whole motherfucking business. William, though, the medicated one, whose neck and wrists are plowshared by milk-white mounds of scar tissue, hands me an essay about his interest in astronomy, in which he tangentially mentions how he accidentally killed his infant daughter during a narcotic blackout, and asks in condemned grainy pencil at the end, "This okay, isn't it?" I hold William's essay like I held the one family dog the neighbor kids stoned and booted for crapping on their lawn, the dog I held in a bloody towel we used to dry off the car, the skin that formed his soft mouth split to his eye socket, his splintered ribs jutting the blood-matted fur like the jagged walls of a bombed city, and I, knifed, muscleless, gutted dust. I asked my mother in the vinyl front seat as we headed to the vet's, knowing but still asking, "He's going to be all right, isn't he?" And I'll read two more from this collection. Um, my mother was the most incredible person. I won't say woman, just person that I've ever been around. She was 4'11", and she was just a force, an incredible force. And in the family bar, she weighed 100 pounds at the most, but she could lift a keg of beer, tap it, change out a keg of beer. She could grab 2 cases of beer and restock the coolers. The young kids that worked, 18, 20 years old, they got way tired long before she ever did. And she's someone that to this day, uh, I'm 63, and uh, I still, if I could have one more moment with her, I would gladly sacrifice most anything for that. Her name was Johanna, but she went by Josie. And I wrote this just after she died, and I read a version of it at her funeral. Elegy for Josie. You were Sunday eggs spattering in grease from bacon, bread fetched from Suchet's bakery, lathered in real butter, coffee lightened with sweet, heavy cream. You were menthol cigarettes as you folded clothes during Oprah and 60 Minutes, simmering pot roast surrounded by carrots and red-skinned potatoes, a chipped cup of coffee and an ashtray. You were arms veined with the weight of children who had fallen asleep on the living room floor in front of Disney and Lassie, Vicks vapor rub soothed into a fevered chest, cries of, "Come on, that's bullshit, ref," at high school wrestling matches. Hands tethered with a gold ring to a man who ran Johnny Walker Red, prize fights, pool tables, and a pub of his own. You rose from a life sunk deep as the cobweb basement in Detroit where you did the wash for your 3 men. You forgave nights left bereft in the glare of TV and crossword puzzles, comforted by cats named for daughters you never had, a blind dog you fed chocolate, and a rosary. You forgave congealed plates left on a deserted table and asked for forgiveness for sins not even God was aware of. At 4'11" and 100 pounds, you towered over our demons, debt and doubt, addiction and death, drawing one more draft for the customer who helped sweep the barroom floor, or finding a blanket and a spot on the couch in the apartment you made above your bar for those too drunk, broke, or alone to go home. You became chocolate eggs in a grandchild's Easter basket, a triumphant return from the toy store, popsicles and Scooby-Doo, cakes of confirmation and communion, one more quarter for pinball, another favorite song on the jukebox, one last rack of billiards in your pub's game room. You were holder of children and protector of stray cats and mutts and mongrels who stole from your cooler and cash box, but never took a thing you would mention. When there was nothing good to be found in a person, you found what was least bad. You were gifts when it was not Christmas and no one's birthday, mother to sons and daughters, black and white, rich and poor, the blessed and bottomed out, buttons for a coat that was given away long ago. A year after you said your husband would beat cancer, you were the tearless greeting, the big guy's gone. You were the strength to pull me from my father's disease-eaten body, making me let go of his cruel hand. Let's go. We can't do anything more. You were your last morning, December 22nd, calling your brother in the apartment next door. I'm not feeling well, refusing the ambulance, the possibility of inconveniencing paramedics, alarming your cats. I'm okay, I just don't feel well. A few hours later, your heart gave after 6 decades, rivers of coffee and 2 packs a day, serving happy hour 2-for-1s, a husband married to a ping 5-wood and 9-ball, ringing out the registers at 2 a.m. after last call, pork chops and pie and ice cream and half a night's sleep. 2 days after I kissed your cool forehead at the ICU, signed papers willing your eyes and skin and bone to any stranger in need, we opened your presence without you. Underwear and clothes for my wife and me, games for your grandkids, the kind you would be playing with them now, careful to never win, and a rawhide bone for the family dog, no one left out but you. Today we bury you next to your bartender husband. Today we lift you smaller than your 11-year-old granddaughter, and we carry a weight heavier than kegs of Stroh's, cases of mozzarella, corned beefs, or mortgage payments. Today is black coffee with no cream, crusts of unbuttered bread, pork chops with no fat, tea without honey or whiskey, a foamy draft left on the bar without your signature, all righty-dighty then. Today we hear your last call, and we, your family of customers, do not want to leave but must go. Nothing more we can do. Closing time. The last penny counted, our glasses empty, a few tips left on the bar, coolers stocked for tomorrow, floors swept and mopped, lights dimmed, front and back doors locked. Thank you. We'll see you, Josie. Goodbye. I haven't read that in years, and that that was kind of hard to. That was kind of hard. Yeah. This one is called lionfish, and it's an animal that's fascinated me because it's exceptionally beautiful, but it's also very poisonous. Um, and what you see on the surface hides something that you need to be wary of. Lionfish, aquarium beautiful, stupidly maleficent, gaping lips blind to its own barbs, dagger-headed beggar and eyeless king. As a boy on a Miami fishing pier, I saw one hurled headlong overboard with the cleanings. Angel wing and needle crown useless as it dropped to the water, abdicating into a shadowy froth of parasites darting for an easy meal. Poisoned chum, quilled cancer, usurping shadows kissing their last meal. Shouldered on crumbling pavement, I looked for a man with my face, mouth pulled taut against the undertow, bones worn like reef, teeth catching its shadows, flown to the depths of my sea. And those are all from Stone Fist, Brick Bone. Um, so we're at 7:34. Okay, I'll read some more poems, and then uh, we could open it up to questions. I was a teacher for over 35 years, and I gave my kids an assignment, and I asked them, go find your birth certificate and look at the details of it. Um, look up what was happening in the world on the day you were born. Was there something monumental? Was there something huge in history? Um, was there anybody else born on that day? And they had a lot of fun with it, and they found out a lot about the world that they were born into without their knowledge. And this poem is called Birth Certificate. At exactly 6:25 a.m. on April 6, 1962, I sprung dumb from the viaduct gutter outside Detroit Mount Carmel Mercy Hospital, backed up with rainbows of transmission fluid, sogged, defeated leaves, frayed tire treads, and a dead Doberman's decayed bald paw. I was the 121st birth that day, one of 867, all of us sharing Mickey Cochran's birthday 2 months before he unstrapped his shin guards and headed to the great dugout in the sky. E.W. Pritchett, M.D., attendant at birth, confirms I flushed full form from the East End's rectum, nickel pinching, penis popping Hermes with a stew pot helmet, singing the fight song of an Ivy League school that would never accept me on its most deluded day. That morning, I bit my own umbilical and spit the shank of flesh tethering me to the assembly line of blank bank statements of an overdrafted confession booth and cracked a tooth. On April 19th, 1962, C.P. Anderson, M.D., officially registered the birth on account I had not come to my 2-week-old senses and cashed out of the madness early, instead opting to let life play out in its choking monotony. Flunked science tests, cheating girlfriends, flat tires, and empty gas tanks, a stay in the county lockup, bosses who cared less that I was alive, let alone born, than the ex-wife and my cable rep. All this was certified in 1988 by the Honorable Coleman A. Young, Mayor, on behalf of the Detroit Department of Health. So now I present this document, this official confirmation of my every failure to become something other than a 7-pound, 11-ounce ghost crying and shitting his way into the world, demanding 15 minutes of love and respect, a paper stamped by the great maker and Governor George Romney and Mayor Jerome Kavanaugh, and anyone else who would listen, that Johanna Marie Jeffire, maiden name, born in Donora, Pennsylvania, and her husband, Thomas W. Jeffire Jr. of Detroit, an apprentice at the Ford Motor Company who was too stewed at Bookie's Tavern on Washington Boulevard at Grand River to realize he had a second son scribbled onto his ledger of mouths to feed, had bestowed a gift of some sort on humanity, ammonia breath shrieking at the Packard plant off I-94. My birthday and this day were truly like no other. 7:38. I'm gonna move ahead. Um, this is a part of my teacher preparation. It's always better to have more and make it to the final bell than to end class 15 minutes early and have the kids looking at you like, yeah, and then chaos erupting and spitballs flying. Um, I think I'll end with two for my wife, who's out there. And as Pauline was mentioning, she has Ehlers-Danlos syndrome. She also has Chiari malformation, secondary Addison's, um, postural orthostatic tachycardia. She's had 5 brain surgeries and was on hospice for a while, but just through pure willpower fought her way off. And this first poem that I'll read for her is there's a lot of allusions in here. You'll probably catch some of these. What we talk about when we talk about love. Too many ways of looking at a blackbird tossed in the autumn sky. From the dry shadows of the bed from which the sun cannot step, your whisper flits above. I am free to leave. First, the living will, power of attorney. No machines or tubes. We first discussed this when our hearts beat quick in the raven's glimmer. A clatter of wings burst at red clay and live oak, free to go. The wind knows all directions. I wipe feces from crevices my tongue once explored. I scrape uneaten meals from cracked plates. I dig arms under whatever is left to dig under. So many ways of looking at a blackbird thrown in an autumn sky, life alit in the few uncollapsed rivers of your hands. And I consider the offer freedom, mine from you or yours from me, not clear. Stand with me, survey the distance. Blanched earth, seedless, scab stubble frozen pools, creek frozen in its sheets. The only proof of life, its absence. The bank gives way beneath our feet. I grip the crest of your waist, and one wing between us, we take flight. And this last one I'll finish with, and this is kind of what I traditionally finish with, but I think there's enough new people here probably haven't heard this one. Ed's probably heard this one, but I call it Wonder Woman. Her favorite sleeping mask is adorned in leopard print. Jungle huntress, sleek, powerful, unconquerable. Morning sunlight causes her head pain to spike, and medical bills still mounting. We can't afford blackout shades. While restful sleep is near impossible, she enjoys the stylish company of leopards. I am sitting across from the gurney we have set up in our bedroom next to the bed we used to share. She asked me if I've seen the eye mask. I find it on the floor between the beds. Here you go. Her pain meds begin to kick in. Fentanyl, Dilaudid, diazepam, whatever hospice can provide. Her eyelids grow drunken, heavy. Her speech slurs, exacerbated by the neck brace she must wear, which restricts movement of her jaw. The fifth, and we know final, brain surgery has shown no positive results. She places the eye mask on. I need my mask. I'm going to be flying around. Oh, yeah? Yeah. Wonder Woman needs a mask. So where are you flying to? Everywhere. Gonna get the bad guys, fly up over top them, swoop down, kick ass, and take names. I take her hand, thin, pale, a papery wisp of light. She is a wonder, my Wonder Woman, my Leopard Queen. No primetime, family-friendly network time slot, no magic bracelets, no shield, no invisible plane. But she's taking flight, soaring off somewhere, eyes set on the infinite beyond. I am left here on earth, sitting on the bed we shared next to the gurney we brought in to give her some comfort, and I watch her drift off away from me to sleep. What can I say about her? I want her here. What would I say to her if she were awake, not taking to the clouds, soaring over everything, prowling through the high grass, fighting monsters and the malignant powers that forced her onto this gurney? I cover her hand in both of mine. I listen to her breathe. Woman, I want you here. I want you here. I want you here. Thank you.